No te lo agarro la onda, güey.
It's not helping matters.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
We're taking care of He ain't done yet. She did.
Y'all should have like that.
¿Qué me vas a disparar, güey? ¡Eres shooting!
Axel, stay with your mother right here. Don't let your mother cross that line. Don't let your mother cross that line. Bro, look at all the Hey, we got guys going in to get kids, okay? They're working. They're working. I don't have any information.
I know we can't take our kids to a kid. We want to make sure our kids are coming out.
Hey, so I'm just saying right here. So I'm just saying.
They're worried about keeping their kids on the stretcher. They don't, but it's no, they shot him right there. They shot him. That's okay.
This morning, there are new claims from witnesses and at least one parent here at Robb Elementary who told the Associated Press frustrated onlookers urged police to rush into school and confront the shooter, but claimed those officers did not enter the building. In fact, one parent told the AP he and other parents considered racing inside themselves. They were so upset at what they felt was police inaction as the shooting unfolded. Law enforcement have not directly responded to these claims, but on Wednesday, DPS Director Steve McCraw told reporters that 40 minutes to an hour elapsed from when Ramos opened fire on a school security officer to when the tactical team shot him inside the school.
Obviously, this is a situation we failed in the sense that we didn't prevent this mass attack. But I can tell you those officers that arrived on the scene and put their lives in danger, they saved other kids.
Well, the AP also reports a law enforcement official who wanted to stay anonymous said that tactical team had trouble breaching the classroom door and had to get a staff member to open the room with a key. Meanwhile, we're learning more about what may have happened in the hours before the shooting. CBS News reports the gunman got into a fight with his grandmother over a cell phone bill. That's when investigators say Salvador Ramos shot his grandmother in the face and headed to the school where the tragedy unfolded. And this is a tragedy, and this is a small town, and I can tell you everyone knows everyone. You go into the restaurants, the stores, you feel it. Everyone is grieving. I had a father tell me yesterday he has to tell his 8-year-old son that 5 of his friends were killed. It's that big of an impact.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Everybody's doing okay. Once again, out doing my stuff. It's a nice day. A little more cloudy than yesterday, but it's still nice. Temperature's nice. Nice breeze. So, let's see. This morning, I guess Ted Cruz had come out and, made some speech, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, about how Uvalde, the school in Uvalde, when the shooting took place, was it Tuesday? That the school, the exits were not locked up, and they should have been. Okay. And he's trying to say that, well, the shooting wouldn't have happened if the kid couldn't go into the school through one of the unlocked doors and bring his gun in there and got around the security. Okay. Well, later, as it come out, I guess online, a video was posted where what I just showed you here before the theme song here for Ordinary Talk. It shows all kinds of parents outside screaming at the cops to get them to go in there and get this guy, okay? While there were gunshots being heard outside, okay? And the cops were standing there with their own guns holding the people back. So the idea that good people with guns can counter bad people with guns did not work that day, because the good people with guns were pointing or using or threatening to use their guns at the victims, the victims' parents, okay? Instead of going in there to stop the bad guy with a gun. And then they could later come out and said, well, we were overpowered, okay? Really? Did you see how many cops were already on the ground that day? They said that they didn't respond to this thing for almost an hour after the kid had gone into the school. They had called the police for help, and it took them an hour to get there. And this is a small town. There's only about, less than 20,000 people live in that town, Uvalde. It's a really small town, okay? So any police response shouldn't have taken that long to get there, okay? But it did. And when they got there, they basically just surrounded the school before they did anything and kept everybody back, waiting for I don't know, was it border security or some SWAT team or something like that to go in there and do this. Okay, I guess that's what they were doing. However, time was of the essence. The kid was already in there, had already killed a number of people at that by that time, and the cops were there, and the parents were screaming because they knew what was going on, begging the cops to run in there and do something. That's their job. Okay? But they didn't do anything. And, you know, after what Ted Cruz had said about, you know, the doors were unlocked, the report that was given to the press today changed twice. First, they said that one of the security guards in the school had spoke to the kid that had the gun, okay, for a while, and then walked away. So there was somebody there inside the school that was, you know, at one of the exits, okay? So somebody was there, and, you know, like I said, the kid was talking to this guy. And then, after Ted Cruz had said what he said about why this happened in the first place, the police came out and amended their report and said that no, that was untrue. What happened was, okay, he got in through an unlocked door in the back, okay, and so the whole part of the story where we talked to a guard there was completely wiped from the amended version of what was reported. So there's, you know, the sense that there's somebody or something going on to try to change or cover this in such a way to fit the narrative that the Republicans, specifically Ted Cruz, you know, have been saying to defend their position on guns. And Fox News, in lockstep, is out there saying, well, we need more prayer in this country, video games, violence on television, immorality, anything but, you know, the idea that this kid at 18 years old had 2 AR-15s, okay? Anything but that. Anything but talking about how we could have done something better to keep a gun from getting into that kid's hands, okay? They blamed everything but that on Fox News. So what we're seeing is a lot of smoke and mirrors and a lot of people running to change what was said before somebody said, oh, you can't say that, you know what I'm saying? A lot of shit's being done right now down in Uvalde. And today, as this is playing out, another shooting happened in Houston. Yes, I just heard. I don't have all the details about that shooting yet because I heard about it on the radio, but this just happened today, this afternoon, I guess. So Texas, you know, like I said, you know, it's not just one state that has this problem. There's a lot of states in this country that have this problem. But Texas, in the middle of one crisis, is that they're trying to whitewash. Another one breaks out in Houston, okay, in Texas. So it's like trying to play whack-a-mole, you know, while they're trying to explain away the need to keep playing whack-a-mole. They don't want to change the status quo. The right to, in their interpretation, to bear arms is more important to them than to save your son or your daughter, wife or a husband from being shot. Now, online today, I was, you know, conversing with some people on YouTube, and one of the things that was thrown at me was that they need to broadcast more of the carnage from these mass shootings in order to sway minds and get more people motivated to do something about this. My response is, since when do people seeing carnage motivate anybody to do anything? I've seen some of the news reports that showed some carnage, you know, of some of these mass killings, and it didn't do anything more than what was already done. The problem isn't what we're seeing, it's what we're not seeing. And what we're not seeing, okay, is action taken by politicians to override whatever is being done by Republicans to stonewall and mitigate any, what's going on. That's the real carnage, is these fucking people in Washington, D.C. who are satisfied with how things are. They're satisfied with the rising death toll in this country every year. Okay? What more does people need to see to make them understand how bad this is? You mean hearing about dead children, dead babies and stuff like that isn't enough? And speaking of babies, how many times do pro-abortion people out there, and it happens right up the road from here, stand outside with these big placards, and the placards have a picture of a chopped up fetus or whatever, disgusting image they throw up there to try to convince people how bad abortion is. Does it do anything to stop it? No. Okay, it motivates their own supporters to fight that much harder to stop it, but it doesn't change what women think about it. They think they have the right to do abortions, and it doesn't matter how much carnage the pro-lifers put out there for people to be shocked and awed with, okay? Because it doesn't work. We are people who are exposed to carnage all the time on television, whether it's fictional or real. It doesn't matter, okay? We see it all the time, and we're numb to it. In fact, some people don't even like a movie if the carnage doesn't look real enough. Okay, so that tells you that, going about the way that this person on YouTube was trying to say we should go, by exposing people more to the blood and guts here of, seeing little kids sprawled out on a classroom floor with blood shooting out of their veins, that's not going to stop anything, okay? They used the Vietnam War as an example. Well, let me tell you about the Vietnam War and the shit people saw on TV then. That was the first war that was ever shown on television, okay, as it was playing out. That was the very first war. It was a shock to the country because nobody at that point had understood what war was all about. But when they saw it on TV, when they saw what our troops were doing there, when they saw what the other side was doing there, okay, that sparked the huge protests that went around the country, okay? That changed everything. That's what turned the country around against the war in Vietnam. Before that, people had this very, what can I say, very clean, Hollywood type image of what war is all about. Okay, thanks to people like John Wayne and stuff like that. Their thoughts about war were very sanitized. Television was very sanitized back then. Things like that would never have gotten there. But the media got away with it by showing it, as it was. Okay, that's what changed it. Fast forward to 2022, we've been exposed to so much carnage, war pictures, videos, stuff like that, in movies, on the news and stuff, that we've become numb to it. Okay, we're used to it. You can't shock us anymore. You can't shock us. Hollywood pushes the envelope all the time in horror movies, and people pay through the nose to go watch that carnage. So how the hell are you going to wake people up to mass killings of kids like that by exposing them to what it looks like, the carnage? That's not going to generate the response that you're hoping for. People have gotten numb to it. And if you start doing that, if you start showing this every friggin' night, dead babies, dead kids, sprawled out in the classrooms, what do you think is going to happen then? Whoever was shocked by, eventually they'll just get numb to that too. And then where are you going to go with your imagery then? Okay, that doesn't work, people. It doesn't work. Okay, it might be shocking in the short term, okay, but it's not going to push people enough, especially the right wing, to finally come to Jesus moment. Okay, they're not going to do that. They're not going to care about how much gore you put on there, and it's going to be very offensive to people who are who have kids who were killed there. They're going to bitch at the media for using their tragedy you know, in a way that, you know, gives, you know, they get ratings to get more people to watch. I mean, that's what's going to happen. They're going to feel very offended by that. So I don't think that that's the way to go here. Okay. But what I do think is that, you know, Democrats should not let up on becoming a pain in the ass in the right wing. They really have to be the pariahs of our country now, to constantly be at the Republicans' doors. Always. You know, protest outside their homes. Protest outside the Supreme Court. Protest, you know, wherever they are. Just don't let up. Make it year-round. And just make it, you know, a pain in their ass that they're going to get sick of hearing it. You know, you know what I'm saying? If you do that, and you make these people, you know, loud and unrelenting, okay, that will create more attention to the problem. And, you know, I understand, you know, the internet these days, people like to start these things through the internet and stuff like that, which is good because it gets people together. But where we protest is just as important as getting out there and protesting, okay? We can't just go outside and protest in the middle of a city. You have to go to the people that have the impact or make the impact on whether things get done or not. And that means our representatives. You got to go to the governor's place. You got to go to the senator's place. You got to go to your congressman's place. You got to go where they live. Bring it to their homes. Okay? Hundreds and hundreds of people. Bring it to their homes. That's what you got to do. That way, they never get a break. Never get a break. This has to be a constant thing. And I know it sounds like, you know, oh, this is just wishful thinking. But you got to start somewhere. How are you going to know it's not going to work unless you try? Okay? How are you going to know if it's not going to work? Okay? Maybe making pictures of the dead kids in the school and bringing them down to the homes of the Republicans that are pro-NRA. Maybe that would be more effective than just showing it to the entire world what's happening here. Showing it to these Republicans every day, exposing them to the carnage that's happening in their state, in their schools, sends more of a message than screaming at them. Okay, just standing there silently, holding up these placards in front of their homes like they do, like I was talking about the abortion, anti-abortion people. They do this all the time across the street from the Bangor Humane Society. They'll set up a bunch of placards and pictures and stuff, these two old people, and they just sit there. They don't scream, they don't shout, they just sit there. You know, they you know, they're elderly people, and they sit there on their lawn chairs out on the side of the street. And this is right next to where all the doctors at Eastern Maine live, which is a brand new section they just put up there a year ago of some nice expensive homes. And they chose that spot because they wanted the doctors coming out of there to see that. But like I said, that's what they do. And it's relentless. You have to be that committed. You have to be committed to staying out there in the elements and the rain and the snow and the hail and all that, and with your signs, and show these people you're not going to quit until you get your way. See those people out there, they were doing all that, and now look where we are when it comes to Roe versus Wade. Relentless. It took them a long period of time to get to where they are now, but here they are. We're scared to shit that they're going to get their way. And it's because they were relentless and we weren't. Okay, we sat through every friggin' mass killing in this country. We bitched about it days after it happened, months after it happened. There's no more talk about it. Okay, we move on to the next thing, whatever that may be. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. Is you don't give yourself that chance to just stop talking about it. You stick with the subject. You get out there and you do this stuff. Now, there's commercials that are showing on YouTube now that weren't there before. Sandy Hook people and stuff like that, they were, you know, doing commercials. Where were these commercials days before this event happened in Texas? Why haven't they been running these damn commercials nonstop since Sandy Hook happened? Why are they just now showing this stuff on YouTube? You see what I mean? You don't quit. But every time I get on YouTube, there's always a damn commercial on there about something to do with anti-abortion. Every friggin' time. And that's been going on for the last couple of years now. It pops in through. I don't know why it comes through, because I keep clicking. I don't want to see this. It keeps coming through. How is it that they're relentless on that and we aren't? You see what I'm saying? For every step they take, we have to take 2 steps. Okay? We have to be on their ass all the friggin' time with this. You can't let up for a minute on this issue. No matter, how long ago it happened, these people have to be out there. They have to keep pushing the envelope, driving the friggin' Republicans nuts, doing what Beto O'Rourke had done by going up to that conference there or whatever, and telling those people everything you're saying is going to be nothing. I mean, it's these things will happen again. And he was right, because he said that, was it yesterday or the day before? And here we are in Houston having another gun. He was right. He was dead right. No pun intended, but I'm just saying he was right about that, and he got proven right just by what he said. So they shouted him down. They called him an asshole. They did everything they could to silence him. But at the end of the day, he was right and they were wrong. Okay? So, like I said, that's why we can't quit. We can't quit. We have to be relentless, just like they are. We have to be relentless. And that means we have to match everything they do. We have to counter everything they say. When they say it, we have to be there as a pariah on their shoulders that they can't shake off. Because if we get numb to it, and we fall back into apathy, then they win. Eventually, they will seize the opportunity to slip by something on us, and and we're going to be kicking ourselves in the butt for not having been on top of this from day one, and not sticking with it. So let's go to a commercial break. Here.
Dear CEO, what's it gonna take for you to do something? Yeah, do you even care?
Climate change affects all of us.
This is your chance to do something good.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the screamers, the criminals, the carnival barkers and their loyal clowns, the ones who don't like differences. They hate the rules and they have no respect for you. You can't reason with them or disagree with them. They glorify villains and vilify heroes. About the only thing you shouldn't do is ignore them. because they have a plan to push America backwards. And while some may see them as crazy, we know they're dangerous. Because if we don't fight, the people who are crazy enough to think they can stop progress will.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life, nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life, fresh goes better. Mentos fresh day, fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the
Want to build a super day? Then start with the one great taste that makes a super bowl of cereal. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Just think of crispy golden flakes.
Delicious, crunchy flakes of corn.
So pure and simple, just can't wait.
Low in sugar, loaded with vitamins and iron.
So good for you, don't hesitate.
For a super bowl of our most nutritious corn flakes ever.
What a super bowl. Have yourself a super bowl. Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Super taste, super good. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
So, another little piece of information that's changed from the official report that they've amended is that at first they told us that the guy with the gun was wearing a bulletproof vest or something. I guess it was, you know, he had been wearing that. Now they're saying that he didn't. Okay. And it's like, well, how can you get a detail like that wrong? I mean, if you drop somebody, I mean, wouldn't you notice right off when you go to examine the body whether or not he's wearing it? I mean, how could they get that wrong, you know, from the initial report, and then wait all this time later and then change it and say, oh, well, he didn't wear body armor. He was, you know, he was just, you know. So again, I feel like we're being led away from the truth here deliberately, because if their story was true, the details like that would not be so different now. They wouldn't have amended it to such a degree already. And this has been, what, 2 days or something? They should have gotten the story right, you know, from the very start as to what happened, okay? And people are not stupid. They know that they're not being told the facts. They know that they're not that they're being misled because of political, you know, whatever you want to call it, BS. And, you know, people are not so ready to trust, you know, a report like this, especially when they keep coming back and adding to or taking away from their first report about what happened. Now, I understand at times there might be little changes in the story, okay, like who said what and when, and you know who was where, okay, but you wouldn't get changes like this where, you know, a person says they were talking to a guard, okay, and then he wasn't, and then the guy says he was wearing body armor and then he wasn't, okay. You know, you wouldn't get things like that because you're getting this report from people who, you know, supposedly that saw the kid there doing something, right? The witness himself. So how can they change what a witness saw and call it official that this is officially what happened instead of what the witness said happened? That would be the official version, not the version the police changed into, but the version they got from the witness. I mean, because they weren't there. The cops weren't there when this started up. They didn't know what the hell happened. I mean, it took them forever to get to that damn school. So, I mean, how the hell could they possibly screw that up, you know, and all of a sudden decide, oh, this wasn't right, that wasn't right. They were getting the reports, you know, from the people that were there before they got there, and they knew better. I feel like something is underway here, and it's about what Ted Cruz was saying about, you know, his version of what went on, about, you know, the doors not being locked in the school, which doesn't seem to, you know, go with the facts of what happened, because you got people saying the kid was in the school and he was talking to one of the guards that were there, so the doors were guarded, okay? And who are you going to believe more? You know, a guy who's a practiced liar like Ted Cruz, or a witness who actually saw things unfold, okay? I feel like, you know, why should we choose the liar over the witness? Because his credibility is stretched beyond belief, okay? And the guy, as you're going to see here in this next clip, he won't even answer any questions that have anything to do about why he and members of his party, you know, refuse to address this problem in a serious fashion, and the rest of the world scratching their head as to why, you know, America is not the safest place around, because, you know, the Republicans are always saying an armed country is a safe country, but it's not true, is it? Because we got the most weapons on the streets. You know, people typically own more than one gun, okay? And that, all that being said, we should be the safest country in the world, because, you know, according to the Republicans, an armed country makes for a safe country. Well, no, it doesn't. It makes for a more violent country, because everybody feels like when they have a gun that they have the right to go and impose their view and their ideas on other people, and if you don't like it, they'll blow you away. I mean, that's the attitude we got here. I don't know why Republicans don't see that, but whatever, you know, people think when you do something, you know, other people will do X, Y, and Z. But what people don't understand is humans are unpredictable. You can never know what they're going to do, okay? You never can tell what they're going to do. We often just, you know, make assumptions that, oh, if we take this away, they'll stop this, or we take that away, they'll stop that. How do you know? How do you fucking know that that's going to happen, okay? Here we have a country here full of armed people, okay, and every fucking day we're getting reports of shootings happening all over the country, every day, and we break records on how many killings in a year's time. And so if there's anything to throw back at Republicans on that argument, it's that right there. You know, you cannot say and get away with saying that, oh, our country's safer if more good people had guns. Well, you did today, that day in Texas, you did have good people with guns, but where were they? And here's the thing about good people with guns. They won't use their gun unless somebody starts something, unless the bad person with the gun does something. So what does that tell you? That means the person that's going to get shot first is going to be the victim. And then maybe they'll get shot by a person with a good gun, but you still have two people dead. You get two people dead. The first person that got shot and the guy that shot him both wind up dead. Okay, well, that still isn't helping to stop gun crimes, though, is it? I mean, you're still leaving the door open for the same things to happen. Okay, so what they do is they go out and buy a gun that shoots, you know, many bullets in a second, and then they can mow down more than 20, 30 people, okay, in a second before anybody takes them out. So how is a good person with a gun a good thing? Okay, because like I said, they, you know, by the time they react to something they see, it's too late. There's already dead people on the ground. Nobody can predict when somebody's going to use their gun, you know, to kill people, you know, on a whim. You can't do it. So that solution or that answer rather, I should say, that answer, it's not a solution, but that reply from the right wing is full of holes, and it doesn't stand up under scrutiny. We got good people on the street who do have guns, and it's not stopping. Instead, we're seeing a rise in gun crimes across the board. Okay, so here's the interview with Ted Cruz. Just watch that.
There are 19 sets of parents who are never going to get to kiss their child goodnight again.
Is this the moment to reform gun laws?
You know, it's easy to go to politics.
But it's important. It's at the heart of the issue.
I get that that's where the media likes to go.
No, it's not. It's where many of the people we've talked to here like to go.
The proposals from Democrats in the media, inevitably, when some violent psychopath murders people.
A violent psychopath who's able to get a weapon so easily. 18-year-old with 2 AR-15s.
If you want to stop violent crime, the proposals the Democrats have, none of them would have stopped this.
But why does this only happen in your country? I really think that's what many people around the world they cannot fathom. Why only in America? Why is this American exceptionalism so awful?
You know, I'm sorry you think American exceptionalism is awful.
I think this aspect of it.
You got your political agenda.
No, it's honestly,
God love you.
Senator, it's not. I just want to understand why you do not think that guns are the problem.
Why is this just an American problem?
Well, it is just an American problem, sir.
Mr. Cruz, why is America the only country that faces this kind of mass shooting?
But you can't answer that. You can't answer that, can you, sir? You can't answer that. Why is this country...
Why is it that people come from all over the world to America? Because it's the freest, most prosperous, safest country on earth.
It may be the freest, it may be the most...
Why are our kids dying in school?
You ever see a man squirm so much in all your life? I mean, this guy here couldn't get away from that reporter fast enough. But the reporter made a good point. Made several good points. You know, we call our country, you know, a great country. We have exceptionalism and all that stuff. But what's so good about it if you put yourself in harm's way in order to have this exceptionalism? You know, why should somebody come live in this country if the chances of them getting shot go up considerably from where they were? And maybe, you know, if I was Alex Jones, maybe I would say that's the point. You know, they want to make the country as violent as possible in order to deter more people coming into here because they hate immigrants. So if we make America more violent than other countries, then people will just say, no, I'm not going to go live in America because the place is a battleground. Okay? You know, if I was like that, if I was like Alex Jones, that's probably what I would say to explain that. Okay, but we know that's not really the case. It's what it is that it's money talking, NRA money, you know, gun manufacturers money. They get lobbyists to go to DC. They, you know, pad some politicians' pocket so that way they can win a campaign, and then they're forever beholden to that lobbyist, you know, because they can't get some money enough from their own voters, right? Because they've been beating their own voters over the head for years, making them dirt poor. So how can they possibly expect donations from their own people? You know? So, like I said, these people they're on the take, okay? The politicians are on the take. And because of that, and because we can't interfere in any way, that connection of money going into politics, which is a big problem in this country. It's really the root of most evil that's happening here, is that there's way too much outside money flowing into Washington, D.C. Instead of people using the election booth to get what they want, they go over that and they pay them people, they buy off people, you know. So those are people who don't believe in voting because what they want done, they know is not popular. So in order to get what they want done, they go pay a visit to Senator so-and-so and they give him $100,000 for his campaign. And that's how it works in Washington. And Bernie Sanders had said more than once in his time there that, you know, money in Washington D.C. has created more problems than we ever thought. You know, it's insane. Okay, and that has to stop. But who's gonna volunteer to give up all that cash because it's wrong to do? You know, how many people do we know, even Democrats? How many Democrats and Republicans are on the take from different things? I mean, you're going to ask them to give up all their money? I mean, they're not going to do it. They might say on one side of their mouth that, yeah, I understand it is a problem, okay, but on the other side they're going to say, well, I'm not going to get rid of this opportunity because, you know, we don't get enough donations from the voters, so we have to get it where we can get it, you know. So you see how the problem began, and now it's become almost unsolvable in a way, because you're going to have to depend on people giving up what they've been making themselves fat with, okay? And nobody's going to want to give up their money, okay? Nobody's going to want to do that. You wouldn't give up your money. You know, I wouldn't give up my money. And that's the sad part, is that, you know, money is what dictates in this country. That's really the god in America, is the dollar bill, okay? That's, nothing else runs this country. Nothing else blesses this country more than money, okay? When we say one nation under God, it should be one nation under money, okay? Because that's we are under money here. And everything that happens in this country is related to money, good or bad. You know, it's money that funds everything. And that's why people always tell you to follow the money. When somebody's doing something rotten, follow the money, because that's going to lead you to the source, to the root of the problem quicker than anything else. You know, and like I said, this issue here with the gun mass killings and stuff in the schools, definitely that's money related there, okay? And it wouldn't be happening if the NRA didn't exist, if lobbyists didn't exist, if the gun manufacturers didn't have lobbyists, okay? None of this problem would exist. We would have a much more stable society, okay? Sure, there'd be a shooting here and there once in a while, but not like this, okay? This is something that you can't even imagine our country turning into, okay? Of all the kind of dystopian movies that were ever made, I mean, I don't think anybody ever foresaw that, you know, our Second Amendment being misunderstood by a faction of our society could turn our country so inside out and make it look so dark and deadly, that it would lead us to this, where we're unable, our hands are tied, to be able to stop this, you know. And so we have to depend on the politicians themselves to change what they've been doing, to stop taking the money from the other side, to start caring about what the consequences of their greed is doing to the country. You know, if they can change, you know, what they're doing, then that's when we'll start to see improvements. Until then, we're at the mercy of what these people are getting for money, and we really should be taking our anger to wherever the NRA headquarters is, probably in Texas, but take our anger to them, take our anger to the gun manufacturers, okay, and let them know that you need to stop giving these people money. They're not going to tell you no, so we're going to tell you stop. We're going to tell you no, okay? We're going to come between you and your fucking money. You know, that's what we have to do. We got to put ourselves on the line, as it were, to make a stand between lobbyists in Washington, D.C. And like I said, we ought to form a chain around the Senate and Congress and say, okay, you're not allowed in here. Okay, we the people, we are the government. That building behind me belongs to me, belongs to her, belongs to him. That's our building, and you don't belong in there doing what you're doing, okay? Stay the hell out. That's what we need to be doing. I mean, that right there will make a loud and clear statement across the country that the people, you know, are sick and tired of waiting for politicians to do something, that we're going to have to do it ourselves, that we're going to have to physically get between the lobbyists and the politician and stop them from giving them money and whatever, Okay, what else can we do? I mean, you know, if we have to do something other than that, I'm afraid it's going to be more bloodshed on the street in a big way, because they won't try and change themselves. They won't change themselves. They won't change what is. They won't change their ways. Okay, these people are doing the devil's work here, and they think they're doing the right thing, and they're not. Okay, they're just not. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great upcoming weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I think, is it? Or, yeah, I think, yeah. Anyway, keep your ears open for local COVID-19 news, okay? It's still out there, hasn't gone away yet. Subscribe and comment. Love to hear from you all about things that I talk about. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep talking, you know, and I'm not going to respond. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can respond. I appreciate comments, but so do that, and be safe out there, and go ahead and have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you later. So take care.